Better late than never, but better even later. Seriously, what a day we've been through. I swing by to pick you up, and my car starts creaking, so we drive back, pick your car up. We get down to 95, flat tire, got to change it on the side of the road. Come down here, the place is packed, and we set up, and audio issues, video issues, but finally, like true professionals, we pulled through. Yes. We got it down. We've got a slideshow of your finest work at Cage Titans, and finally we have you as a guest. It's been so long since I've seen you, since January, since we did the last show. COVID drifted the whole Cage Titans family kind of like apart. It's been a while. I miss everybody involved, fighters and crew alike. I hope everybody is well and healthy, and let's get some more of you on the show. But today we have Igdalia Medina Photography in-house. Finally, she's got her own podcast, Your Fight Story. Your Fight Story, My Fight Story?
Neither. It's Their Fight Story.
Their Fight Story. So, in between. Their Fight Story. This just goes to show how much the research I do pertains after I try figuring out tech issues.
You did awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. But welcome to Table Titans.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, give us a little bit of input on your podcast. You just started out of the blue. I've seen a couple of clips and episodes of it. I saw you had Tyler Pimento on.
Yes.
And another member of the Cage Titans family. So give us your lowdown on why you started it and why that just grew on to everything else that you already do for the MMA community in New England.
Oh, well, I started it because of COVID.
Yeah.
Well, I've been wanting to do it for a while, but never had the time. And since I can't shoot anything right now, I figured, let me try to test this out. I can, get all the technical difficulties, which a lot of things have happened. But yeah, no, I love it. And I just look to keep sharing their fighter story because everybody knows the fighter in the cage, but nobody knows them outside of the cage. So I want people to know who they are.
And you're a natural at it. You've jumped in the deep end. You've had, like you were saying, people on the UFC roster on, Fabio, who's fought on the Contender Series. You've had Randy Costa on before. And just many different walks of life. Hillary Rose was fighting on the Contender Series in a couple of weeks. You talked about that one specifically as one of your favorite recent ones that you've done, just because she motivated you to a new level when you mentioned.
I mean, she mentioned that, which is an obvious statement, that I'm a female podcaster, but it never dawned on me that I was a podcaster that's female, and there are not that many. I never really, my concern or my goal was just to share their story, so I never really paid attention to who I am.
But still, when that was finally mentioned to you, you kind of you're like, there's not really too many females doing the MMA coverage game around on the local scene at least. So
I mean, that I know of, I don't really know. And if they are, hey, what's up?
Yeah, so now Mike's blowing me up.
Oh, now?
He's like, finally, good job. You finally got it covered.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So do you ever run into technical difficulties like
All the
that?
time.
All the time?
All the time.
Yeah.
It's like I fix one thing and then something else happens. And it's like, really? Really? So 1 week I had to cancel all of my interviews because the internet wasn't working and everything was slow because everybody was on at the same time. So it was crashing my computer. So then I gave my computer away, and then I ordered a new one because I thought it was my computer, but it wasn't my computer. It was just the internet connection. But Comcast can't go out because of COVID to fix anything. So they're like, well, you're connected. And I'm like, okay, I'm connected, but I can't connect. And they're like, well, we can't go out there. And I'm like, well, that's great. You can do your job, but I cannot do my job. That's really, really great. Thank you so much. So, I mean, it is what it is. You
just got to roll with the punches.
You do.
The show must go on no matter what, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I said, even if we're late, no matter what, flat tires can't keep you down.
Yes, today is definitely an unforgettable night. First your car makes noises, let's take my car. Then we get a flat on the highway. But luckily you know how to change it because I don't know how to do that. And then,
Hey, but you learned.
I don't know if I learned. I observed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to have another flat to see if I did learn. So we'll see.
That's not that difficult. You would have managed. No, you would have just called AAA and waited on the side.
Heck yeah. Why am I going to judge? No, thank you. No, thank you. That's why we pay for AAA.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Unless you got free labor, drive.
Exactly.
That works too.
Yeah.
So I miss having you around. Seriously, normally like what 5 to 7 times a year we're at Pins doing the weigh-ins, and you upload all of the weigh-in pictures then and there, get them all shipped over to Mike, so he's got them for the poster because he prints them out, and it's like that kind of just that collaboration where you're doing your thing, Mike's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, Domenico's usually there doing his thing. It's like it's the longest I've gone without having a show.
Yeah, it's been too long.
And it's like we're all feeling it. Fighters alike, everybody's trying to fight, but it's like the crew.
Yeah.
How much do you miss fights right now?
I miss it a lot. Hence why I'm doing the videos and the podcast, because during the fights, while I'm taking their pictures, I get to know the fighter, and I learn, their story and stuff like that. Now I don't know anything. So now it's just like, oh, okay.
You mean you get to know the fighter as you're shooting the fight?
During weigh-ins.
During the weigh-ins, gotcha.
During the weigh-ins, like they're waiting and stuff like that. So if, I asked us, like, do you want to get your pictures done? Because I get that there's like a system where they normally want the fighters to do all of their stuff and then they go by the list, you know what I mean? Like the main card and then all the way down. But my thing is, the person's weighing in, if I can get them out of the way sooner so they don't have to worry anymore, I think it's better. Maybe not for me, going back and trying to figure out which order is what, but it's really not about me, it's about the fighter.
Fighter first.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's like, the quicker you can get them, go over and hydrate, get out of the way, go do your thing. Just the quicker you get the pictures done, it's done. And then you take some of the best shots come fight night, sitting up on your perch, right over the commentary table. So every time I'm flailing and stuff, I gotta make sure I don't hit you and knock you down. Because
I am secure. I am like, I have my elbows tight into the cage. When I see them coming, I'm like, all right, secure myself even more before I go flying. But I love it. I love what I do. The fighters are happy, and that's my main goal is for them to like their pictures. And it's like they just went through their fight camp. They just finished their fight. I don't want them to wait, so many days to get pictures. So that's why I go home, or when fights are over, everybody goes to the yacht party. I just stay there and do some pictures so they can have something to look forward to.
Sorry, Mike keeps texting me. Technical errors, and I'm trying to fix live as we go. I don't think there's any problem. I think everybody hears us just fine. But
just in case.
Yeah, but you've been shooting cage fighting for a while, even before you were the official photographer. And quickly, before we go, got to give the shout out to Martina Giannetti, who's also the other cage sightings photographer. And the Hylers have been doing a lot of work around, doing a lot of backstage stuff and crowd work. So shout out to all of the photographers for cage sightings. Miss all of you guys too. But you've been the official cage side photographer for a couple of years now?
I have no idea.
You have no idea? You've lost track of time?
You know what? It's what I love to do, so it's not really about the title. Like I've told Mike, if he wants somebody else, by all means, I'm still going to be there taking pictures or finding something else to do because it's about the fighter and finding another angle, another view that somebody hasn't done.
And there's tons of them in Plymouth Memorial Hall. Like
exactly.
Every corner is a photo. Where
I love it because it's a challenge.
Yeah, that's like some of my favorite times, like after fight week, where it's just an exhaustion-filled week.
Yeah.
Just look at all of those tiny moments captured just on all of the pictures, the highlights, like how crisp that head kick landed. We've got a bunch of them sent in because you got a bunch of pictures sent your way of some highlights and people's personal favorite shots and a couple of shots that are your own personal favorites that we can't wait to go through. That was the big thing. Mike is not here. Mike is in Tennessee, I want to say. I'm like 99% sure Tennessee, maybe some other state. But he's the techie, so he knows how to set it all up. So I had to figure it all out over the phone.
And you did that.
Thank you. Technological caveman, but we figured it out.
Yes, if you can change a tire, I think you can do this.
But yeah, so real quick, is this one that you picked?
One of the fighters sent me that.
Okay.
So there were so many pictures I couldn't really pick that I just decided, you know what, let me just have the fighter send me something and we can share them.
Yeah. Who sent you this?
Bradley.
See, I can't even tell. It's all black and white. This isn't Cage Titans?
No, it's another promotion.
All right. That's what I didn't recognize it. What's this? You doing This is all
this
ammo, or-
yeah, that one was ammo. So they have like kids do grappling challenges.
Yeah.
So this is one of the kids, and it's just a great picture of the little boy. You know, he won.
Oh, Miguel Quay. That's got to
Yeah.
be a reality.
Yes, that was reality, representing.
So you've done all over representing Puerto
Rico, yes.
Hell yeah. I was representing Puerto Rico with Julio and El Salvador up at Mount Washington
Yeah.
this past weekend. Oh, Montoya with the head kick
So
on
this picture, I picked because he like really did. He did really well that fight.
Yeah.
And I felt that the reason why was because of his corner. He normally doesn't have a corner. And that night he had Carlos Carrera.
Yeah.
And Carlos was coaching him all the way. And he was like listening to everything. Because I'm here shooting, but I'm also listening,
Yeah.
you know?
You got one of the best seats in the house.
Yes, I do. And he did an amazing job that night. You know, I think he went 2 rounds.
Yeah. Against
So
Fleming, who's a top contender at 45 and 55. You know, so that was one of his toughest opponents to date, Montoya Swillings, and he had one of his better performances to date as well against it. Wow. Head kick landing crisp. Keep going through. Another one of Miguel.
yes.
Wearing the battle scars. Him versus Doherty would have been a great fight.
Oh,
Over
yeah.
on cage
See,
tights.
this one is one of my favorites because this is, okay, obviously Peter won that night.
Yeah.
But he explained why he's never alone in the cage. Like, they go in with him and they go out with him, and may they rest in peace, they will never leave his side. And he's in there holding the bag with his family's ashes. I believe it's his father and his brother.
Wow.
So to me, that was just like, it. When I look and take pictures, I look at it on a different level. You know, not just, you know, that move, that signature. This one, to me, is like, that one made my whole night. Like, out of all of the shows, that one meant so much to me because of that.
Wow. And this is after his DSAB fight? So this is the last fight before he went to the contender?
And yeah, I believe
Yeah?
so, yeah.
And now to see him make his UFC debut this weekend. Shout out to Peter.
Yep,
Barrett.
and happy birthday, Peter.
And- oh yeah, happy birthday to this guy right here.
Yes.
Forgot about that.
Yes.
It is the birthday. After, what a week for him. Makes his UFC debut and celebrates his, I think he's 33 now? I think you mentioned
34. He's gonna be-
34.
Today he's turning 34.
Yeah, 34. Happy 34th. Slippery Pete, Peter Barrett. Hope everything is well. And, oh, wow. Look at that shot.
That was at Pins.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Jay Rivera, and oh my God, I'm blanking on his name now. Oh geez, this is what happens when you smoke too much weed and get punched in the head too much. Young kid too. Oh, I'm blanking on his names. But look at that. That's like, and that's in a Muay Thai fight. It looks like
Yeah.
a high crotch single leg. I remember he wanted
Yeah.
to throw like a knee.
They were on fire that night.
Something funky. That whole fight card was insane.
Yes.
The first ever combat night.
That was amazing.
It was just nonstop action from bell to bell. It looks like Angelo Richardson over at Ammo. Yeah, that's got to be. Recognize that hairstyle from anywhere.
Which one?
Angelo Richardson,
Mhm.
land of the ground and pound.
Yes.
Former title challenger at Cage Titans.
That's David Durow.
David Durrell and Neifert.
Brandon.
Brandon Neifert.
Yeah. That was an awesome fight too. It was a really good fight.
Yeah.
They both went at it.
Durrell always does. Oh, Schubert, that crazy.
Yes.
That crazy cartwheel kick throwing.
That emotion, you know, you got to get the emotion.
Yeah, knockout of the night, if I'm not mistaken, that night. Or was that, no, that was Pins. That looks
No,
like Pins.
that's not Vince.
That looks like Pins to me. That looks like the Pins banner back there.
I don't know.
That's got to be Pins. Oh, what a fight this was, Duke and Ariel. So many great profile pictures. This was another one that you wanted to talk about. Here.
Yes. So this one, you might look at it and it's just somebody celebrating their win, but that night he was celebrating the win because he dedicated that fight to his father. So that to me means more than anything else because fighters have a reason why they go in that cage and why they fight. And that night was his night to remember, you know, keep in memory of his dad.
It's like going down memory lane. Haven't had fights in
Yes.
so long, so just going
Yeah.
down to see some of these awesome still shots. That looks like that's over at Lion Fight.
It is. It's the Lion Fight in Foxwoods. This little girl wanted to take a picture with her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was like awesome. You know.
When the fans show up to weigh-in day.
No, she was fighting too. That little girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was she grappling like these two guys right here?
Yeah.
It's like that is so awesome.
Yeah.
Out at Amel, they have these kids
Yes.
grappling in the cage, full
Yes.
on. He's sinking in a guillotine like he's
Mhm.
Mike Polvere right
He
there
won.
in the gi.
He won with that move.
Like,
That
wow.
was his. Yes, and he was like, "Did you get it?"
Yeah. Taylor Thompson,
Yes. Yes.
throwback
Yes.
to the former teammate of the Rivera Athletic Center.
Yes.
I hope you're doing well out there, Taylor.
Yes. We miss you, Taylor.
That was back when she won the 135-pound belt. Right before the Kylie anticipated fight. Oh, Ariel again.
Yeah.
Coming in with the kill eyes.
So this
Wow.
one, Randy is always, you know, keeping Devin alive.
Hmm?
And this one meant so much to me because he's standing right in the corner, whereas his team carrier, Devin Carrier, and his family, his father, and his coach. So this one, I had them stand there because, you know, we need to remember. He's never going to be forgotten.
No.
And it's important that people see and understand why Randy fights, why his father is there in his corner all the time. And that's why.
We'll be seeing a slight recreation of this picture in just a couple weeks' time when Randy goes in there to fight in the UFC one more time.
Yeah.
He's got a fight coming up. Journey Nelson, too.
Yeah, September 26th, I believe, is his fight.
September. Is that far out?
September. Yeah. Randy
I thought he said in
Costa?
August.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Shows how much I keep it.
It's okay. I got you.
Been a day, but hope all is well with Randy Costa as well. Oh, KK with the head kick. This is like vintage Table Titans, going through an entire slideshow. It's been a while since we've done this. She must have sent that one in too.
Yes. These were all sent to me by
Now,
the fighters.
how does it feel when you know you just caught that shot, that money shot? I've never photographed anything moving this fast, so I can only imagine the sense of pride that you get when you actually catch like a perfect.
You know, I'm gonna
shot
be. I
like
don't.
that.
I just look at it is the image sharp. That's what I'm looking. Did I get it? Because it's like, what's the point if it's blurry? But then when I look back and I'm like, oh, I took that picture. Okay. Sometimes I got to go back and see what the copyright says.
Mike, it's live. We're good. Will Asia, he took the red pill. That's another one of my favorite Muay Thai fights.
Yeah. That one was at Pims.
Yep. Will Asia versus Josh Hagloff. What a banger. That's a cage setting. They can't even tell who that is. It looks like Cardoso and Welly the Belly.
Yeah.
Oh, ammo. Can't even tell. Because I found some old ones that you've taken of me in my fights that I didn't send in this way, but wow.
Yeah.
It's like this is as good as it gets right now. Just going down, seeing all of
Memory
everybody's
lane.
favorite shots. Perfect head kick from that fight. I can't tell who that is either.
That is, let's see here. Oh, I think they posted that on my you know what, like honestly, I forget which pictures I've taken.
Yeah?
And unless I see my logo on it, oh, that shows up on the feed.
Because I gotta find
You know people are saying that, right?
what? This? Yeah. I'm trying to find some, because I didn't send them in through Facebook, but one to bring back a little bit of way throwback if this decides to work. What is with technical difficulties in me today? If you can't tell. Oh, they can't see that.
No? Okay.
Oh, I don't know how to get it so they can.
Go click on it. Oh, that's because you've opened up a different screen.
No. Oh, we're not going to be able to see that.
We can send it later.
Yeah, we'll send it later. Where am I at? Sorry. I'm still new to this. Bam. Oh, Ken Moy and Patrick Corrigan. I believe that's his name. Jarrett Corrigan?
I just take pictures.
You just say, yo, I thought I was wrong. You're looking at me shaking your head. They can't see it. Because, but another picture perfect Ken Moy. He can style you better than anybody else in New England, and he can also do that to you.
Yeah.
Diverse set of skills. And oh wow, look at that pre-mustached Andy, bow-tied Richie. Back when it was a two-man team, he still couldn't. He couldn't actually choke me if he tried. That's how it normally goes. That's more like it. Pop his head like a zit. I'm a lot bigger than him. Who wears suspenders? Come on.
Yes.
So yeah,
that's it.
I think that's it. That's all you got for the slideshow one. But yeah, I mean, just great to go back down a little bit of memory lane.
Yeah.
See some of your fine work, behind the camera before you've transitioned into podcasting. And you're also a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean,
Yes,
we
I
go
do.
back way back to the Rivera Athletic Center days, which is why I'm got to be repping as always. Hope all is well, George. I don't think he watches this at all, but hope all is well down to George. So tell us how you got into training at Rivera's as well. George Rivera was
Yes.
one of your first coaches.
Yes. When he opened up the rack, I joined.
Yeah.
And I was there until the last day.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about that. Back in your ass-kicking days when you were kicking ass and taking names.
I don't know if I was kicking ass or they were doing it to me. Either way, I was doing it. No, those were the good old days. It was like amazing. Will I ever get to that again? I highly doubt it, because it was like morning, cardio, then jiu-jitsu, then kickboxing, you know what I mean? And then at night, another strength and conditioning class. So it was like 4 classes for 5 days a week.
Yeah.
That was the life. And now it's, I can barely walk every other day. And, it's like, oh my God. Yeah, but I used it as therapy. So, anybody who needs, mental health counseling and stuff, and instead of turning to medication, to learn to martial arts. Because it helps a lot. And it's cheaper.
Yeah, way cheaper than therapy.
Yeah, and the side effects you can deal with, because you're just going to be sore for a couple days, and then you're going to be back to normal.
Minor concussion, depending on how much striking you do, maybe once or twice. But
That's why I say don't hit me in the face.
Yeah.
Stay away from the face. Please don't hit me.
Yeah. So you take that as like a mental health, almost like a mental health therapeutic thing.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people would take it that way, but you seem like
that's my thing.
Recommend that before recommending anything else when it comes to.
Yes. Everybody's different. Everybody processes things differently. I don't drink. So I don't do alcohol. Obviously alcohol is drinking. And I don't do drugs. And a lot of people turn to that because that's just an outlet for them. My outlet is martial arts. It's jiu-jitsu. It's boxing. It's doing something that can get it out of my energy instead of taking medication that's supposed to produce everything that my body can do on its own. So that's why I do it, and that's why I always tell people that it's definitely something they should look into, because it's rewarding. You see the results, you feel it, you see it, and it clears the mind.
Jiu-jitsu more so than striking for you? Were you primarily a jiu-jitsu practitioner when it comes to your martial arts training?
Yeah, I'm more of a ground person than stand-up. Only because I never wanted to get hit in the face.
Yeah.
I hated it. Some people like it, I'm not sure why, but I don't. So my thing was always, my go-to was, the armbar and the rear naked choke, and the omoplata. I love the omoplata. I think it's because people kept telling me, you really can't use that. So I'm like, oh yes, I can. So here we go. So any chance I got.
Edgy brav. Oh God.
I loved it.
Gosh.
Yeah, I loved it.
Now, have you competed? When's the last time you competed in jiu-jitsu?
Last time I competed in jiu-jitsu was when George was here.
Yeah, so that's 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah. And I you know what? I started competing again because my son was competing, and at that time I think he was like, I don't know if he was 10 or 12, and he was doing his competition, and one of the rules was no Ezekiel chokes or no this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, cool, I'm good. So then the kid did it on him. So I was like, oh, no, like this is not happening. So then I was like, all right. So the judge was like, or the referee was like, oh, no, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not. So then they did it again, and Gio tapped.
Yeah.
I was fuming. And then, so Gio went again, and they did it. And I'm like, look, like, you guys were the ones who did the rules, not us. So if you're going to do them, follow them. So after that, I was like, screw that. Whenever Gio's fighting, I'm fighting. Or grappling is not fighting. I'm like, whenever. And I didn't really think about the fact that maybe I'm going to be going at the same time he's going. So in the tournament, I was winning, but then I'm like, oh, where's Gio? Is he going up? So I tapped. The girl was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, just get off me. Like, just get off. Exactly. That's it.
That's the problem with some of these grappling tournaments.
I was like,
every time I go to one, I'm always like, it's like, there's nothing. And now it's like, I have no dog in any race on any mat right now. It's all neutral. I'm just watching. And then all of a sudden, 3 teammates are going at the same time on 3 different mats.
And you're like running. Which way do I go? Which way do I go?
It's like, I feel like the SpongeBob meme. Like, which way am I going to go?
I was so mad.
Yeah, and it's like, you got to pick and choose your favorites, and you got to move fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes like that. But actually being in competition while your son's going,
I was so mad.
You just tapped out, took the hour, like, let's roll.
And George was like, why'd you do that? And I'm like, Gio might be going, and I don't know if he's going. I'm like, I have to be there for him. It's like, oh my gosh.
I could actually like picture George just watching you tap out.
He's like, what? It's funny because he's like, Iggy, you need to get aggressive. And I'm like, but I'm not aggressive. He goes, you need to get aggressive. And I was like,
you gotta get aggressive, Bob. You gotta get aggressive.
And I was like, what? So I'm doing my thing, and then the girl, like, she went straight for like a choke. Like, who does that? Like, that's not a real, like, that's not a technique. So I was like, no, she didn't just do that. Did she do that? And then I was like, okay, whatever. And then she did it again. I was like, oh, no, this is not happening. So I got up because we were going off the mats or whatever. So they had to reset us. And George was like, whatever that was, that's what we want. That's what we want. And I was like, I got this. And then I ended up winning or whatever. But I was like, who does that? Like, why do you want to take the easy way out? You know, I don't know. I guess if I knew I could have done that, I would have done it myself, like so many times, like the first 3 seconds.
When I get fussy and I get angry, it's like...
Because I don't see that as like even like a technique. I'm over here trying to do the armbar, I'm trying to do the triangle.
Was it gi, not gi?
It was gi.
Gi? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, girl, like you're like walking around and not doing anything, and then you see that I'm doing something, and then what? Now you're gonna go for the choke? Like, seriously, like a straight thing? Like, who does that? I'm like, she did not just do that. And I'm like, and then like, of course, like 3 years later, I'm like, oh, I could have done the armbar.
You just grabbed it.
Only took me 3 years to figure that out. I was like, what? I remember I used to bother B, and I'm like, B, what was that move with the armbar? That he's like, what? It's like 6 a.m.
Johnny B?
Yes. He's like, it's 6 a.m. I'm like, yes, I know it's 6 a.m. But we just did a drill like 3 weeks ago, and I'm here in bed, and I'm trying to figure out which one it was. And he's like, when we're in the gym, he goes, really? I'm like, yeah, well, what's it again? Because I keep going over it and over it in my head. So
you were like completely obsessed right from the get-go, where you were texting your roller partners at like 6 a.m. I was like, I need that move.
Yeah.
Like,
even still now, like when I turn, like I'm turning in my bed, I'm like shrimping, or I'm doing like I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, no, because I have to keep practicing how to like switch sides. Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu runs in the DNA.
I was like, and then I'm thinking like, really, why couldn't I move my hips like this when I was in competition or whatever?
That's why you got to get back into it.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I'm going to be training at Darkside Jiu-Jitsu in Plainville soon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, it's like another home. Like, the rack was my home, and this place is just like the rack. Like, just all about family and respect and honor. And that's really all I need.
Man, the rack, those were the days.
Yeah.
Those were the days. No easy days there.
No.
You were thrown into the deep end when you walked through those doors, no matter who you were.
Yeah, but you know what? One thing is, there, like, you know me, I always, like, celebrate myself. I'm like, woohoo! Oh, yeah, because it's like some people have no energy anymore.
Yeah.
And I give myself energy, I give other people energy, but then I get yelled at because I have too much energy. But it is what it is.
No such thing.
No.
No such thing as too much energy.
Yeah, well, tell it to the coaches who are telling me to to be quiet.
Who tell you to be quiet?
I'm like, shh.
Who?
Just other people.
Who?
Huh?
Who's telling you to be quiet?
Well, because I train and I'm loud.
You would just be loud during training and they would all shush you?
Well, we're drilling,
Yeah.
right? And you're doing a drill, and it's a difficult drill. So when I get it, I'm celebrating because it took me like forever to figure this out. You know, I'm going to be celebrating, but some people just don't like it. They feel like it's disrespectful, or maybe because they're old school or something. But you know what? It is what it is.
I'm trying to pull up another album here because I gotta show another picture.
Of you?
Well, this is everybody got to send their favorite one in.
Yeah.
That you took.
Now it's your turn?
I've got a couple.
Okay.
Because you've actually shot a fight of mine back when, now the stomach hanging out is a lot. This is back when I lost like 80 pounds to make the weight. It's the first time. But that's an action shot of me, not on the microphone, actually competing.
Yes.
Eddie Lewis Jr. out of Phoenix, Muay Thai, Hope all is well. I don't even think he has social media, but
Then he's smart.
yeah, definitely. He is a smart kid, but we went to war for 3 rounds, and that was that's one of my favorite action shots that I've got. One of the few punches I've actually landed in competition.
You have proof.
And you caught it. You caught it.
Yes.
Believe it or not. And then there's
Yeah.
fat Andy getting beat up. Oh man, too much. Too much. I'm trying to find the one where I'm like, where I got kicked in the nads, but I gotta find that later. But I got all these open windows down. I don't know how to like map it out. I had an idea, and then the technical difficulties completely
that
just like
gone.
It's gone. I'm not good at it. I'm better at changing tires than I am at changing
Screens?
software around and whatnot. I guess, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to like get to the old.
Just go to
I'm trying
photos.
Yeah.
Click on photos.
Here we are.
And then go to albums.
That's what I'm looking for because I found the Rivera as I was
Yeah,
going
yeah.
through. I found the Rivera.
So go to see all.
Got it.
And it should be all the way at the bottom.
Because that's one of your first ones.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's definitely a couple of these that I got to show that are going to bring some memories back. I don't know if Mike's watching down in Tennessee, but he's going to get a kick out of a couple of these. This is back in Media Day at the Rivera Athletic Center.
Oh yes. There it is. Where you see Matt?
Rack Media Day. Talking old school. This is the one I'm talking about right here. Because that is indeed Mr. Denolach, Mr. Mike Pulver, put me in a guillotine at the
I was
Rivera
trying to
Athletic
figure out who
Center.
that was.
Yeah, that's me.
I was like, I should post this. I'm like, I have no idea who's that.
That's
I'm
me.
not gonna do it.
I could tell. I remember that role too. He messed me up. Yeah, see Fat Andy. And there's Sean Evans, shout out to him. Just climbed Mount Washington. This guy climbed Mount Washington barefoot. Barefoot.
Why?
Because he jumped into a lake that was freezing cold and just jumped out. Was like, y'all are moving too slow, and sprinted up the mountain barefoot while he left Lugo, me, and Julio behind. He was up there for like 2 hours before we, wow, just looking back, Coach Cap, Sean Newell in the background, Remo and Rowe looking like they're rolling. I see Bill Mahoney in the background there. But we're just taking it back because this is the home gym that you and I both started at.
Yeah.
Sean Evans and Scott Sullivan, my first ever opponent. That I have fought. Shout out to him as well.
Are you planning to fight again?
Him?
No, you.
Me?
Are you planning to fight again?
I want to someday.
Are you gonna announce yourself?
No. No. There's Pulver and my fat self again.
Yeah, that was funny. That was a good night. A good day.
Way back. Can you believe that's almost 5 years ago now?
No, I can't.
Alger. I miss this place. This is like really memory lane.
Look at him on the phone as always.
As always, Bandana Johnson,
Yeah.
Crew Blue,
Yeah, I haven't seen him
and Carl
forever.
Langston in the background too. Oh, I haven't seen a lot of these faces in forever. Richie and Mike going at it. Still going for that friggin' guillotine.
That's all we did there. It's like an automatic reaction. Go for the neck.
Well, that's all Mike does anyways. I can't even tell which one of those kids that is. It looks like Carter is like a baby. And look, Carter's going for the guillotine.
He's trained them well.
Look at that.
That's
Monkey
awesome.
see, monkey do. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They just go for the guillotines to pull hairs. That's the thing about Mike. He will roll with anybody.
Yeah.
The no GoPro roll. Wow, that's a throwback. Look how tiny the little ones are. No, that was Maddie in the guillotine. Carter's a baby there. My goodness. From there to here.
Yeah.
Look at that ugly mug. Who the hell is that guy? Who the fuck is that guy? So that was a look at the original Rivera Athletic Center building.
Yes.
It's been like when I found that album today,
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Just going through just like the old setup, the bags. Yeah, now it's a dance studio.
Yeah, I know. When do they still get floods? They must. I see the bags in front.
Hmm?
The sandbags?
Yeah.
When it rains and
Yeah.
stuff. You know how we used to take everything out? How could you forget about that? They're like, it's raining, let's grab the sandbags, everybody.
Oh man.
We gotta remove the mats, we gotta clean up the area.
So how have you been through COVID? Outside of podcasting, what's been keeping you busy through all this?
That's pretty much it. I mean, house stuff, something breaks, I gotta figure out, thank God for YouTube. You know? Hey, YouTube. Go on YouTube and find it. But that's pretty much it. Just, family and that's it. Oh, I started training again with Mark. Gio and I trained with Mark to get back. Cardarelli, yeah. To get back into.
Shout out to Coach Cardarelli.
Yes. One of the originals from the rec.
Mm-hmm. So what are you training with him? You're just going super secret sessions? And...
Oh, no, we go to the park.
Yeah.
Out in the open because of all, people with their COVID and whatever. So we just go to the high school, practice, train, and try to get back into it. I mean, we can't do any ground because I'm not going to be thrown on the turf or on the turf, the track. No. The last time somebody got thrown on the turf, they broke their collarbone. You remember that?
Who broke their collarbone?
It was at the holiday party.
I usually am really drunk at those, and I don't.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say I could really remember those.
No, like I can, but I also can't at the same time. That's the thing about who broke their collarbone. She broke it. When was this?
The holiday party.
At the rack?
Yeah. I don't know why people decided to do jujitsu in the rack.
All right, now I'm vaguely remembering that. Oh yeah. Was that the night we all dressed up?
Yes.
Tony was there.
Yes.
And filming Richie puking in the bathroom that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I don't remember any collarbones being broken. I just remember the videos from that night. That was because we threw down.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys were doing that.
We threw down at the rack, whether it was fists or drinks. We threw down.
Yeah, I was just like, what?
We had Sorrento across the street.
Yes.
So it was always 2 shots and 2 Coronas and pizza and then back to training. But yeah, that holiday.
We always maintained ourselves.
Yeah, I guess, for the most part. We're very well-behaved misbehaviors, I think. But yeah, I don't remember ever a collarbone being broken. That must have slipped my memory.
She won't forget.
She will.
No, it was, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But she thought it was her shoulder.
Yeah.
But then it turned out to be it was really her collarbone.
Because I do remember we cleared the mats.
Yeah.
And it was all just AstroTurf.
Yes.
And then we did do a little bit of drunken training.
Yes. Well, that was it. That was part of the results.
Probably not the sharpest idea that we've ever had, but...
Well, it never happened again, so... Lesson learned.
Learn from our mistakes.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
man.
yes.
See, I don't remember the commotion of a broken collarbone.
I don't think people noticed. Because
Yeah.
she just got up and she just walked to the entrance and sat
champ.
there. Yeah, she was like, no.
Yeah, this is the rack. We don't feel pain.
I don't know how she did it, to be honest.
I don't either.
Yeah, but she trained a lot, even with her hip.
Mm.
I never understood how. My hips aren't that bad. But she fought. She did her smokers. She did good.
We had a lot of tough chicks at the rack. There were a couple of girls that were fighting. I know Julie.
Oh my gosh,
Julie
yes.
would
She's
box.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Love her.
back on the topic of women in MMA, whether they're fighting, podcasting, it's like...
Yeah. It was the good old days. We still have a great group. We all keep in touch. So that's good, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we all keep in touch. It's been a while since I've seen Julie. I don't know, it's like, just weird. We went to BST afterwards. Yeah, miss you, George. That's about it. That's about what we're getting at.
You ruined us when you left.
Come back. Come back.
Just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, but anything else you want to shout out? More podcasting? Who you got as a guest coming up? Just plug your podcast. Where can people find it? Where can people watch it? Because not only are you talented in bringing the best out of the photography aspect, imaging aspect, you bring the best out of people on your podcast as well. You've got a knack for interviewing them, you're personable, you get along with everybody, and you let them take the reins on their fight story. So where can people find this?
Well, it's their fight story, so I can't really say much about their fight. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube. The direct channel is youtube.com/c/Igdalia LLC, and it's called Their Fight Story. But I also have another playlist, which is Igdalia Speaks, which talks about trauma and how martial arts can help people through different types of traumas. Because a lot of people don't know how to handle things, and since martial arts is dedicated more like on discipline, staying calm and staying focused, that's what my thing is more about. The importance of staying calm and staying focused, finding your why, and martial arts is a great way with meditation, having your mindset. So I do that.
So that's more like your personal, Igdalia Speaks, more, do you have guests on that, or is that just?
I don't have any guests yet.
Yeah.
But I do want to bring people on there. But the thing is, like with Their Fight Story, there are different people that actually go through things like that. So sometimes I'll, maybe like after a few interviews, I'll go into a little like 3-minute, 4-minute kind of talk about that. Because some fighters may not want to see that. And then some people who don't know about fights may not want to see, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm trying to bring people to be aware that a fighter is more than the person that they see in the cage, and they're not just fighting that person. There's something else that they're dealing with, and they're healing. So I want people to see that and people to understand. Yes, there are people, because the media out there, they want to show the negative side of it. Like, oh, if you're in MMA, oh, you must be abusive. Oh, if you're in MMA, you must be this. But you know what? People who are in MMA have so much more to offer. Like, people fight, like Miguel, he fights. And when he goes into the cage, he's not only fighting for himself, but he's fighting because his brother is fighting an illness of epilepsy. So he says, if my brother can fight, then I can fight as well. So that's his story. So every fighter has a story. Or when a fighter goes in and they just experience a death in the family, instead of just like holding back or whatever, they go in and they're like, you know what, I'm doing this in your memory because this is what you wanted for me. You were always so proud of me, so I'm going to dedicate this to you. And then they go ahead and they win, or they do whatever they do. It doesn't, the outcome, even though they want to win, doesn't even matter as long as they did that for them, you know?
Yeah.
So it's important that people know their story, because they're more than just that red corner or that blue corner. They have more. Like one fighter, I don't know if one fighter, he had a fight, obviously, fighter. He was like the main card. He was on the main card. I think he might have been either the co-main event or the main event, but he wasn't able to fight that night. And people saw him drunk and laying, and nobody really knew his story. So they started talking about, oh, look at this, you know, he's drunk, he doesn't know what's going on, like, why would he do that? But nobody bothered to find out, because he was ready. He already weighed in, he was already there, but nobody knew that right before he was about to go on, he got notice that his father passed away. So it's not like he had a week notice, 2 weeks, it was like literally like an hour before his fight.
Wow.
He got the notice, hey, by the way, your dad just died. Like, some people can function and use that, but other people can't. So you can't really penalize somebody or judge somebody. Or, I mean, if you want to talk about that person, fine, but first find out what really happened before you start talking and saying something. And, you know, there's a lot more that people need to understand that they don't.
So that's your mission with Their Fight Stories, to uncover the onion and peel back and figure out
Well, they have a story,
Yeah.
and a lot of times they want to share their story, but nobody wants to listen.
Hmm.
Everybody just wants to say, oh, well, you fought this person, and you fought this person, and oh, that was great. So what'd you do after? Oh, you went drinking? Oh, well, now you're done, so what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, so they don't really, I feel like nobody wants to know the fighter for the fighter.
Mm.
They want to know the fighter because he's fighting this person or he's fighting that person. But you know what? Before he fought that person or she fought that person, they were somebody.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I just want people to know them.
Mm.
Just like I know them when I'm about to take their picture and I'm talking to them and, you know, trying to make them feel happy or, you know, keep their mind busy that, you know, they're cutting weight and they got to wait, they got to do this. And I get to know them. And then as I get to know them, I start, you know, understanding them. And then it's just like, oh, so this person isn't really like this. It's really like that. You know what I mean? So there's always a different view that people don't see.
Mm. You gotta be a certain level of personality to be willing to step into that cage.
Yes.
Like there's a certain like extra push
Yeah.
to be willing to step into that cage. And everybody's reason's a little different. Like you
Yes.
said, martial arts could be like, I love how you put it and tie it into like a therapeutic sense. Like it's always been therapy to me, and I know how that is for everybody else. And to take it to the next level and really like challenge that therapy. Like,
Mhm.
what have I actually learned about myself from this, and how can I
Yeah.
test it against someone else? I think that's great that you're trying to get the best out of everybody and give them a platform to do it. And it was a pleasure having you on tonight,
Thank you for having me.
and a pleasure going through some of your better works.
I think the more exciting
And-
part was the technology.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties, but we did it.
So I gotta find that one picture that really that really
So yeah, check out my channel.
Yep.
Please subscribe. And if you want to be if you look at the videos and you like it and you want to be a part of my show, please feel free to reach out to me. And I will be more than happy to interview you and let people know who you are, what you're about, and where you want to go. Because some fighters don't want to fight to be up in the UFC or one championship or Bellator or anything like that. They fight for other reasons. So I would be more than happy to interview you and share your story.
There you have it. Hit Iggy up if you want to be on the podcast. And next week we got Don Shanis on here at Table
nice.
Titans, so he's going to be swinging through, a former guest of yours as well.
Yes,
Always fantastic.
another awesome
So
interview I had.
Going to be looking forward to that. But basically, if you want to see a picture of me working with technology and how I'd sum it up, that'd be about it.
I think, yeah, you got it.
That sums up the day. This Monday is a swift kick to
Oh, it's not over yet.
junk. It's not over yet. We're gonna drive back to way up north in the friggin' donut.
Yeah. All right, we got AAA.
Wish us luck, Iggy. Thanks again for joining us on Table
Thank you so
Titans.
much.
You're welcome anytime. And miss you. Glad to hear you're doing well, and hopefully we're gonna get these fights going up again soon. So.
Yes, if not, then more interviews to come.
Yep. And with that, cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Table Titans, and we'll see you next week with Don Shanis. Peace out.
Awesome. Thank you.